So with the craziness of the market, a lot of people are wondering what in the world should they be doing in order to prepare for what could be the very beginning of the bull market. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of anxiety. Many of you have waited 2 years for this to happen and you just don't want to mess up again or mess up at all. And so what I want to do is give you my basic strategy, let you guys know on a more visual perspective how this usually goes and how many people do prepare for this that have made millions to hundreds of thousands to tens of thousands of dollars in the past. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. And let's get into today's video, okay? So generally speaking, through all of the cycles that I've been through, whether the stock market or the crypto market, it goes rather the same, okay? You're gonna go through a time of really good times, then really bad times. And once you get through the really bad times, in general, you'll set some type of high or low, and then you'll look to see some type of continuation. Now, when this actual macro continuation, and I mean the beginning of the next bull market starts, it usually almost always looks the same, okay? Almost always looks the same. The way that looks is your least risky things will pump first, okay? Why is that? Well, it's because people want to get back into the market, right? They want to get back in the market, but they don't want to go too crazy. They've been burned a ton over the last few years. They've lost a lot of money. They don't got much money left, but they want to make some money. They want to get back in. So they're going to go the path of least resistance in order to get their feet back into the market. So after the least risky things start to pump, well, people start to get a little bit more confident, right? They start to say, I'm doing kind of well. I got some profits to play with. Let me go into something that's not very risky, but a little bit more risky. So let's call it a little bit more risky. Okay, a little bit more risky. Now, from there, obviously, because money is flowing consistently from here to here and from here to here and from here to here, consistently going, well, we start to see these little bit more risky things starting to actually do decently. Then people start to get a little bit confident, and then this is the phase where we start to see leverage enter the market. Now, although leverage is entering the market, they're still not usually doing anything super risky. They're taking some relatively risky things like stocks and crypto, so let's call this relatively risky things, but now they're introducing leverage, okay? And this is when we usually start to see things ramping up, right? Now, trust me, this will all make sense in a second. This is what we're seeing now. Just let me tie this in, okay? Now, once these relatively risky things start to do well, again, you're still seeing money funneling from the top down and still pushing down into some of these lower ones. So generally, these relatively risky trades and paths are going to do decently, making people money. Now, once leverage enters the market, that is the source of greed. From there, from this leverage, we start to see greed forming, okay? Once you see greed forming, people start to go into the risky plays, okay? Risky plays is whenever you start to see a little bit of euphoria entering the market, right? People get euphoric, they start getting cocky, they start thinking that they're geniuses, they start thinking that they're the spawn of God himself, and that they can absolutely just buy anything and it will just start to go up. People start to get these stupid NFTs that cost $1 million and actually don't have any utility. They start to buy these stupid cryptos that actually don't have any utility. They start to spend all their money on Lamborghinis wrapped in their favorite cryptos token logo for some stupid reason, and things get really ugly. And then from there, after that, we're at peak greed, peak euphoria, and you will start to see the very risky cryptos pumping. Okay, the very risky cryptos pumping. And so this is generally the way it goes. And after this, you're going to see what I like to call the last rally. Okay, the last rally, which is when something is going to pop off, then something's going to break. Then when something breaks, we go down. Okay, and that's always almost how it looks, right? Almost every single time. The least risky, a little bit more risky, relatively risky, very risky, the last rally, something breaks. Think about 2021. This is exactly how it went, okay? And so right now, people are questioning, where are we at and what does this mean? Well, I'm under the belief that we're in the beginning of the bull market. That doesn't mean that I think we're about to go straight up. It doesn't mean that I think Bitcoin's about to hit 100K right now. It just means that I think we're at the beginning of it. Now, when people look back at 2023 in the history books, they're going to say, oh, that was the beginning of when the bull market started. The only thing that invalidates this opinion is if we do set a macro lower low on Bitcoin, which would have to put us around 12K. And I just don't see that happening, right? I don't see us dropping from 37K to 12K unless something absolutely catastrophic happens. And so because of that, in my opinion, I believe we're in early stages in between phase 1 and in between phase 2. We're somewhere in between these two, okay? Even if this is a mini macro cycle, right? Like not the big cycle right now, because it's just like there's multiple cycles within one full cycle. I believe where we are right now is somewhere in between 1 and 2, maybe just entering into 2. The reason I say that is because we saw Bitcoin rally. And over the year, I mean, we're seeing Bitcoin's price up a nice 140%, okay? When we're talking hundreds of $1 million in market cap, that's substantial. And now recently, we started to see things that are a little bit more risky popping off. Think Solana, think Caspa, think some of your things like Dot, think some of your things like Chainlink, think some of those not necessarily very risky projects because they are top 15, top 20 companies, but they are a little bit more risky than something like Bitcoin. And outside of that, we're not really seeing much else happening. Leverage isn't really all that high in the market. We're not really seeing people going too stupid just yet. We're not really seeing that many meme coins popping off, except for like maybe Grok or some of those other ones. But for the most part, the volume on meme coins is extremely low. My agency, for example, can be a good reference. We've only sold maybe 10% of the total meme coin packages that we've sold in, say, May or April. So it's substantially lower right now. And so in my opinion, considering the fact that we're not seeing those rather risky cryptos popping off yet, we're somewhere around phase 2, as I mentioned before. So because of this, people are wondering, well, what should we do now? Well, what I can say is what I'm personally doing as a result of my ideology here, okay? So what a lot of people are doing at this given point is they're going straight to the really risky ones, right? Or the very risky ones. They're kind of going here already. They're buying, like, they're aping into these pre-sales, they're aping into private sales, they're aping into meme coins, which I don't necessarily think is a terrible idea because money is slowly trickling down into those already, but I think they're kind of skipping a step. Okay, I think they're kind of skipping a step, and the step that they're skipping is the relatively risky step. What is the relatively risky step? These are the micro caps. These are those low startups. These are those less than $100 million market cap companies that have actually generated a ton of utility or ecosystems that actually provide value, but just haven't caught momentum in the mainstream yet. A good example of this is someone that we partnered with. For example, just to use them as a good example here, again, someone like Virtua, okay? Now, Virtua, ticker symbol TVK, is a metaverse that is being built on top of an L1, and that L1 is Vanar Chain. Now, Vanar Chain is an EVM L1 built for Fortune 500 companies, having global validators with over $1 trillion market cap, zero cost and instant transactions, with new cutting-edge L1 business models that they're implementing. They have multiple IP with billions of fans at launch, and going to be initiating core apps at day one. Now, to put this into comparison, what you have to understand is a company like this one only has a $61 million market cap. And if you look at their yearly performance, they are already starting to gain some traction. And so although they're not as stable maybe as your top 10 cryptos, and they are your 300th crypto in terms of size, I do believe that these are the ones where we're going to see a lot more money trickling down into, because although they might be a little bit more risky, they're a lot less risky than your meme coins, and that's still a step in the path to get down to those really risky plays. I think these are the cryptos that you're going to start to see leverage entering the market. You're going to see people starting to take more risk with these, aping into these a little bit more. And by having one like this that's already on Coinbase, already on Binance, that's going to have one of the most sound ecosystems on Coinbase, on Binance for an L1 of this size, I think that this is where the real opportunity is at. And so personally, I think that this is the better place to be putting money, or companies like this one is the better place to be putting money, rather than some of your meme coins, at least where we are in the phase of the market right now. And so in my mind, whenever I'm going forward, I'm not going straight to micro caps and meme coins and private sales just yet. I am getting my feet wet. I am throwing some bones in and just kind of seeing what happens, but I'm putting a little bit more of my allocation from my dollar cost average towards some of these smaller utility coins that haven't hit 100 mil yet, that haven't hit 200 mil yet, because I think that's what's next in the cycle, okay? And so with that in mind, I wanted to kind of just give you guys this update. Like, you don't have to worry too hard yet about, if you invested in a pre-sale and it didn't pump and now you're wondering, what are you doing wrong? I just don't think it's the time yet. I think what we need to do is understand that it's a multi-step process, and there are steps that we just have not accomplished yet. And I think we're still around 2 or 3. That should leave you with a lot of optimism, knowing that I personally believe, at least, that over the next 6, 8, 10, 12 months, that there could be a ton more movement and a ton more opportunities as time goes on. And as time goes on from this point forward, I think the opportunities will get big, but the risk will also get just as big. And so it is something that we will have to navigate and kind of mitigate our risk with, but I am looking forward to it personally, because again, I think that going forward, we're going to start to see some of these more risky and more exciting plays happening that of course we'll try to take part of. This is typically my favorite part of a cycle, and I think in this little mini cycle we're in right now, this is about to get crazy. At the agency, we are expecting to get a ton of meme coin volume over the next few months, which is exciting because it is just higher profit margins in general. And so obviously, again, that is something that I look forward to, that I do believe is going to happen. I just don't think we're there yet. So I will continue to update you as this plays out, but I wanted to give you an update on the broad market itself, the general market itself, and just let you know where I think we're at and give you a really good example of a company that, for example, I partnered with, because I do think they're going to be a part of that next big wave. Okay. And so let me know what you guys think. If you do enjoy these style of videos where we're just breaking down the fundamentals of these markets, make sure you let me know down in the comment section. I would love to keep making videos like this, and it's just all up to you. So with that said, of course, I will continue to update you every single day on this market about Solana and Caspa and DOT and Bitcoin and all of these cryptos. Just let me know what you want to see, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.